Holy heck! Hello, all my viewers! Welcome to my review of The Office US, as I haven't seen the original UK version, or at least not very much of it. I like this show. I really like this show. And, I used to really like this show. I watched it, finished it 3 years ago. I watched a couple episodes because they're airing them on, I don't remember where they're airing them, comedy, somewhere. And I used to watch it with my family religiously until we finished it. It was very exciting to finish it. I didn't really like the ending, but I'll get into that later. If I had to compare the two, the UK and the US, even though I haven't seen very much of the UK, I think the US figured it out. The UK came up with the idea, Ricky Gervais came up with the idea, and the other guy, I don't remember his name. They came up with the idea, and yeah. So, it was difficult for me to get into the show at first because I thought it was boring. And I thought it was awkward, and I thought it was gray and colorless and all that stuff. And I didn't really want to get into it. So I put it off, and then once I got till season 2, I started kind of enjoying it. And season 3 is when I officially got the family together, and then we got addicted to it collectively. See, The Office is like, the issues in The Office are timeless. I think there is like some kind of old sort of jokes in there, but a lot of the ideas and the human relationships and stuff are timeless to me. And I still don't know what year it started, really. I don't want to look it up. I just want to kind of speculate, and I think it's sometime in the 2000s. It has to be, right? But you'd probably be surprised that I know when it ended. I think it ended in 2017. That's crazy. No, that's Parks and Rec. Come on, everybody. It ended, I think, in 2017, but I'm not sure. A phenomenon, if you noticed. You see on Netflix, it's everywhere. It's right on front page, right next to Arrested Development. Not Parks and Recreation anymore. I've also seen all of that show, and comparatively, I think The Office is a little bit better than that show, even though they have the same similar people. And they both did the same thing, which is I think they both ended too late, which is a thing I'm going to talk about later. But still, I really like these shows, and I like The Office probably the most because it started this sort of interest in the awkward sitcom, I'll call it. When I got into it, it was on Netflix. It's never going to go off Netflix. It's like one of their big ways of raking in money. I got into it, and I thought it was a really special thing. I thought it was a thing that it's like a Christmas Story for a lot of kids, because they think it's their Christmas story. It's not everyone else's. Have you ever heard of, it's like when they quote a movie and then you're happy that you know the quote, but no one else does, but in some certain way you kind of want them to know. So it was in that middle ground of not being known very well, and eventually it exploded. Got that out of the way. Anyways, on to what makes it work. The actors carry the show in some respects, especially Steve Carell for Michael Scott. The relationship with Pam and Jim was very believable and heartwarming to see, and it always kept me watching up until season 6, of course, because spoiler alert, they got together. They had children and all that stuff. We're always waiting for Dwight and Angela to get together, all that stuff. I sound like I really like these relationship things. I'm sorry. It's really the main thing of the show, other than Michael just being stupid and ignorant and stuff. I never thought Michael was too mean-spirited. I always thought he just didn't know what the heck anything was, or how he kept his job. All the absurdity of the characters. Dwight's being a beet farmer and fighting bears. I don't think he fought bears. He just knew a lot about bears, and he doesn't look like somebody who would do that. Just makes his character interesting. And, of course, all the little side characters, like what Mindy Kaling's character is, but she's supposed to be annoying, right? And Ryan's there. I shouldn't just pass off Mindy's character like that, but I don't even... Kelly, that's her name. Yeah, she does a really good job as being annoying. I'm sorry to flatten out her character like that. Ryan is the temp that started the fire. I know that's an early episode. That's one of the reasons, one of the ways I got into the show. Okay, enough about the actors. The awkwardness, which I said originally was a bad thing. The awkwardness came to be the show for me, and now I love it when things can be awkward. And this show mastered the art between awkwardness and payoff. And the awkwardness is what makes the show. The camera work, Jim looking at the camera every time someone says something stupid or is doing something stupid. The zooming in from far away, the zooming in through the blinds, like when no one's looking, makes it feel like a found footage sort of thing. Documentary maybe, but not until they outright say it, which is also at the end, and I'm going to talk about that later. Okay, the relationships I mentioned already, and the story in each episode, they make sure to make the goals very interesting. Like someone having a heart attack. Stanley has a heart attack, and the whole episode is about Michael learning the Heimlich maneuver. No, he's not learning the Heimlich maneuver. He's learning CPR. He learned CPR, yeah. Okay. I don't know. I just like the stories, little stories that he comes up with, like the environments they go to and stuff. And, of course, at the very end, the writing. The writing is brilliant. In most cases, the writing is brilliant, especially the dialogue. The talking head scenes are perfect. It also has to do with camera work. The talking head scenes really, I think they make half the show. It's hard for me to even talk about the technical aspects of it. It's just, most of it just works naturally. Need I say more? A couple unpopular opinions about the show. I think Jim and Pam's relationship got a little stale around that time that I'm going to talk about. And that time that I'm going to talk about, now I can finally talk about it, sucked! Well, it wasn't the worst television I've seen, but it was like a slog to get through. I was just trying to get to the final episodes, the three episode trilogy of season 9. And there were so many boss exchanges because Michael's not there to be the boss because he was taken away by Holly and everything. Even though I was happy that happened, I was really happy about that. But it's just nice to see these characters happy. But at that point, everyone was happy by season 7, and now it's like there's no consequences to anything. Except Dwight and Angela, they got together. And I didn't like the 3-episode finale because I thought it was a bit too manipulative, a bit too, I don't know, is it sappy or cheesy? Yeah. Out of the ordinary things happen all the time, and this documentary shows. I hope this documentary shows that this can also happen in your everyday office. I'm like, this is a comedy show where that can't happen. And like Creed starts playing the guitar, and it's just, we did see Michael at the end, but I really wanted him. I really thought he was gonna mess everything up at Dwight's wedding. I don't think he did. He just said that's what she said at the end, and I think that's his only line. It seems like everything should have worked, and I was trying to understand why it didn't. I was like watching the crew go through it, like the first time they went through the ending, they were just reading their lines, like at a big table, and everyone cheered because it was like at the end of a big franchise, a big successful series, and it just didn't work. It should have stopped at season 6 for sure. Okay, so the show isn't perfect, but it's also amazing. The running gags between Jim and Dwight and sometimes Pam are fantastic, especially when they go both ways, especially when Dwight like hides in one of the snowmen and he starts attacking Jim with snowballs. It felt so right because Dwight always gets his stapler put in Jell-O. Once again, an old Office reference. I haven't seen the latest episodes in a while. I know, it's been 3 years. Okay, well, these are all my favorite things about the show. I didn't mention that earlier. And the environment changes. I did mention that a little bit earlier. And the opening scenes with the title soundtrack, which I played there, and especially the musical ones that don't include the soundtrack, and the relationship drama. The relationship drama is really the most important thing. My favorite episode would have to be the one where Michael and Jan are living together, and they decide to have a dinner party, and they bring Jim and Pam and all of them over. And there are other dinner parties in the series, but that one's just the best one because Jan and Michael's relationship is just so disturbingly dysfunctional. Nothing else I can really say about it. Okay, to sum it up, the show is great. I think you got that. I found it funny sometimes. I most of the time kept the funnies in. It's like understanding that it's really funny, and sometimes it really is. Like, Dwight, you ignorant slut. I didn't even know that line existed. One where Michael's going to jump off the building into the bouncy castle. That's awesome. Never mind, I'm getting off track. I found it funny. I was interested, and I didn't ever cry, but that's just my own being dead insideness. You can tell I liked it, because I still remember it as being good. It is good, right? Still, right? Love you.